Okay, so now it's visible. 1 second. It's visible now.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay, so let's start. 1 second, or let me record this because some may require this. Okay. Okay, so in lab we would be given with this sort of a box which would be claimed to be a transformer, and the nameplate tells the rating of the transformer. Here, if this is not legible, I would just read out. This tells 3 kVA single phase transformer. Rating is voltage rating is 110 is to 220 volts, 50 hertz AC with tappings at 50% and 86.6%. Then there is serial
স্যার
number. হ্যাঁ
স্যার ছবিটা না উল্টো।
হ্যাঁ, বুঝতে পেরেছি, ছবিটা তোলা হয়েছে আর পরে ইয়ে করা হয়নি। যাই হোক, আমি দেখছি তোমাদের, তাহলে সোজা করে যদি প্রেজেন্টেশনটা পাঠিয়ে দেবো, সোজা করে পাঠিয়ে দেবো, ঠিক আছে?
ওকে স্যার, ওকে স্যার।
তো so and the manufacturer of the transformer, and that's so. From other side, the transformer looks like this. So there would be 4 such studs or connecting terminals outside, and on another side there would be 4 such terminals. So if you look at on both sides, there would be 4 terminals each, and that's all. There is a box, and this is claimed to be a transformer. We have to test and find whether this is actually a transformer, this conforms to the nameplate rating written over there, and then we would try to use the transformer depending upon certain extra requirement, or some, or we would make some circuit connections using the transformer to modify something about the transformer without going into the transformer. So the problem is that we cannot, a restriction is that we cannot open that box to find what is inside. We are just given with this, and we have to test from the outside and I would say justify the nameplate rating, or I would say nullify also. So there are steps in the lab manual, and we would follow that. So first thing we would do is something called continuity test. This tells, or what is done with this test is that we would first mark that 4 terminals, or I would say 8 terminals, by using the letters A, B, C, D on one side, and on another side small a, b, c, d. You can actually do in any way, A1, A2, A3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Usually for a transformer, we name that transformer terminals by small a, b, c, d, or for the high voltage side, and capital A, B, C, D for high voltage side, small a, b, c, d for the low voltage side. However, here we don't know which one is the high voltage side and which one is the low voltage side. So we should, or we have to arbitrarily put ABCD on one side, and on another side we have to put small ABCD on another side. So it may happen we actually named capital ABCD for the low voltage side also. However, that does not matter here. So using continuity test, we would try to find whether there is any actual coil across any 2 possible terminals. So that means if there is any coil, 1 second, someone is trying to join. So terminals, electric coil across any possible 2 terminals or 2 such studs, that would not be electrically continuous. How can we check that? We would check that by measuring the resistance between any two possible terminals, and if I find that resistance is low, low means very low usually. However, that depends. For a very low rating transformer, VA rating is very small. In that case, that can be of the order of few uh, tens of ohms of resistance. However, for larger transformer, that can be for the of the order of even milliohms of the resistance. So by how can we measure that for the continuity test? We would use something called multimeter. Of course, if we have some resistance measuring instrument called ohm meter, then that's fine. Otherwise, we can use multimeter, where there would in multimeter we have several such measuring capability. We can measure current, we can measure voltage, we can measure resistance, and sometimes we can measure capacitance, inductance also. However, those are usually a bit costly. Otherwise, we can mainly measure voltage, current, and resistance. So for there are usually broadly classified two types of multimeters. One is called digital multimeter, which is on the upper one second, which is on the upper half. This one, and here if you there would be two terminals, two I would say probes. When that is connected across two terminals, let's say for a resistance here, that would give you the resistance value. If you are trying to measure the resistance across the two terminals here. Otherwise, if you want to measure the voltage, we have to connect the two probes across the two terminals where we are trying to measure the voltage. Similarly, if you want to measure the current, however, while measuring the voltage, we have to connect in parallel. However, while measuring the current, we have to connect in series such that the current flows through the multimeter. So anyway, so we can measure the resistance by connecting across the two probes of the multimeter across the terminals, and that would directly, for a digital multimeter, that would directly give us the value of the resistance. However, in analog multimeter, there would be scales and there would be a needle which would show what is the value of the reading, actual value or the value of the reading measured by the multimeter by showing by moving the pointer or the needle across the scale. More, I would say, surprisingly, for a digital for an analog multimeter, the voltage, if you check here the scales, the voltage and current scales here, there is also a dB scale, voltage and current scale. Those start at the left and starting from a zero value, and the maximum value goes to some higher value at the right. However, for the resistance measurement, the minimum value starts at the right hand side and the maximum value is on the left hand side. So those two are different. While measuring the resistance, you should keep into mind that the minimum value starts at 0. So if there is no resistance, the needle would move to the right hand position, and if there is infinite or very high resistance, the needle would be on the left hand side. However, for voltage or current measurement, that the minimum value would be on the left hand side and maximum value would be on the right hand side. So by connecting the probes of the multimeters across the resistance or across the two terminals, any two terminals, we can measure, or we can of course measure the resistance. However, for us, the resistance value as such is not important. The resistance value should be a low value. So if the resistance value is low value, we can predict or we can conclude that there is a coil or there is some electrical connection between two terminals. And if the resistance value is high, in that case there is no, high means very high, of the order of few megohms or even few thousand or even few thousand kilo ohms. So of that order, so in that case we would say that there is no coil or electrical connection between two terminals. So let's go back. We would form a matrix like this with eight column and 8 rows, and here we would try to find whether there is any electrical connection. So as such, between capital A and capital A on the column and row, there is no, I would say, no ambiguity that there would be an electrical connection, because that is the same terminal. So I have just put a cross mark there, because of course if you measure by continuity test, that would give you continuous, or that would say it is continuous. So if we do so for the transformer given in the lab, we would see that the continuity test would result into something like this. So it may happen you can start with small ABCD, then capital ABCD. However, I have started with capital ABCD, then small ABCD. So that here this tells that this capital A and B are electrically continuous, this capital C and D are electrically continuous, and these small ABCD are electrically continuous. So there may be some coil across capital A and B, there may be some coil across capital C and D, and there is maybe a coil or some electrical connection between small ABCD. So that this is a transformer, of course we are not sure about that for the still till now. So if we consider that this is a transformer, so the transformer symbol that would look something like this. So let's assume for the time being, just consider that this is a transformer, so that there would be some coil across A and across the two terminals capital A and B, and there would be a coil across two terminals capital C and D, and there would be a coil across capital A, B, C, D. However, we don't know which terminal is A, which terminal is B, which terminal C and D. Of course, we know the terminals A, B, C, D from outside. However, we don't know where, if there is a coil across A, B, C, D, we don't know where the coils are actually connected. It may happen that you find that this may be A, this may be B, this may be D, this may be C. So arbitrarily, what is the position of actual ABCD, we don't know. Whether the end is A or end is B, we don't know still now. Right? So for that, we have to do something called turns ratio test or voltage ratio test. Now onwards, you just have to remember one thing, that for all our tests, we have to use some sort of precaution, so that I have not shown here on in any circuit. However, you always should remember that for all our circuit, once we connect the voltage source, we have to use some sort of fuse wire everywhere, such that there is no, so such that in case we make a mistake, that's one point. Another point is that if this is not at all a transformer, if there is any, or let's say this is something else, then we stay on the safe side. So we would always use some sort of fuse wire here, right? So break this connection and you can consider a fuse wire connected here. So for the turns ratio test, which is sometimes also called voltage ratio test, because for a transformer, at least in no load, so voltage of the primary and voltage of the secondary are related to the turns of the primary, ratio of the turns of the primary and secondary, that way. So if we apply a voltage across capital A and B, and if we find there is a voltage induced across capital C and D, so that confirms that this may be, or this is a transformer, because there is no electrical connection, we have already seen, between a capital AB and capital CD. So if there is any voltage induced across C and D, that means this must be by the transformer action. Similarly, if there is a voltage induced across small ABCD, that means there is some possibility of induced voltage, and this must be a transformer. So we would do that, apply a voltage across capital AB. What is the rating of the voltage? What is the voltage we can apply? Of course, we can apply a lower voltage. However, there is no point, because we have to use the transformer. So we have to try to go by the nameplate. So the nameplate says the rating is 110 is to 220. So let's try with 110 volt with the small AB. Capital AB. So you would apply voltage across capital AB, and we would use a voltmeter to meet capital CD. So we would connect a voltmeter to measure the voltage across capital AB, and we would measure the voltage across capital CD. Now that means from that we have the voltage rating V capital AB, voltage measurement, and we would have voltage measurement V capital CD. And if the fuse breaks, we have to try a few times, because it may happen the magnetizing current sometimes may be a bit higher. So in that case, the fuse may break. Otherwise, if you find that your fuse breaks several times, either after repeated test, that means this is not a transformer, or there is some fault with the transformer. However, if you find after a few attempts, of course, usually it happens in the first attempt. However, otherwise we have to go for a few attempts. So once you can apply the voltage AB across AB safely, we have to measure the voltage across CD. So from that we would find what is the voltage across AB and voltage across CD. Similarly, we have to find voltage across small AB, and similarly voltage across AC, voltage across AD, also voltage across let's say BC, voltage across BD, 6 ABAC, and voltage across I missed AD. So we would measure all possible voltages. From that, we would be able to know what is the turns ratio for this. Let's say NAB, sorry. So from this, we have to calculate the turns ratio NCD by NAB. So that would be equals to VCD by, okay, VAB this way. And for this, we would measure we only know the turns ratio. So we would be able to find what is the number of possible turns for let's say AB, small AC, small BD, all possible values. So we would be able to find whether number of turns between A and small a and B is greater than number of turns between small a and D or small b and C, that way. So if we can do that, we would be able to predict what is the actual position of the small letter terminals. So in actual, if we can measure, let's say for the time being that if we did 1 second, if we do this properly, let's say we applied the names in order, and thankfully, or I would say fortunately, the turns ratio says gives a similar picture. So in that case, our terminals would come out to be, let's say, small a, b, c, d. So that means the turns between a and b here, that must be less than the turns between a and c. So of course we cannot find the total actual number of turns, so we have to go by the turns ratio. So this way we have to find all possible turns ratios between any two possible terminals for the secondary, or let's say the small ABCD, and from that we would be able to find what is the reverse transformer, as you wish. Okay, thankfully. So we would be able to find what is the actual position of the small ABCD terminals. So after we confirm that, we have to go for the, let's say, okay, I consider for the timing that this was the terminals, and that come out to be the transformer with the terminal named by this capital ABCD and small ABCD. So we would use this symbol afterwards, from now onwards, for our experiment. So in effect, if this is a transformer with the names like this, so inside the transformer actually would look something like this. So there must be a core with that, there would be a, let's say, for the timing once again, okay, V1 is here. So let's say this is the capital A, capital B terminal. Then this is, let's say, capital C and capital D terminal. Here, this may be A, then, okay, sorry. So this may be B, this may be C, connected somewhere here, and this may be D terminal. So this way we can find what this may be something inside the transformer box. So there must be a core and the number of coils there. Now let's move on to something called polarity test. So why this is required? Until now, or by our test, we know. Let me remove this. So we find the transformer structure inside. What is the coil connections? However, one information is missing from the outside. One information is missing from the outside, which is not possible to know if you don't open the transformer, is that whether the transformers or the coils are wound over the core in the same fashion. In the same fashion means, looking from the top, if we consider that all the coils are, let's say, all coils can be somehow thought to be put over the same core or same limb. So whether all the coils are put over the core in the same fashion means, looking from the top, whether all the coils are wound in the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. Now, as they are cut by the same flux, if the two coils are wound in clockwise direction, so if we consider at certain instant, the top terminal has a higher induced voltage compared to the bottom terminal for one coil, and if the next coil is wound in the same fashion, so the top terminal for the second coil would have a higher potential at the same point of time or same instant compared to the lower terminal. I hope you got my point. If you have any confusion, then you can ask me. So without opening the transformer, it's not possible to know whether the coils are wound in the same fashion or same manner in clockwise, all clockwise, one clockwise, another anti-clockwise, one anti-clockwise, one clockwise, or two clockwise, one anti-clockwise, this way. However, there is a method by which we can do this without opening the transformer. And in fact, this is very important when we want to connect two transformers or two coils in parallel or series. We would go into that a bit later, or just after this, using the polarity test. So in effect, the polarity test means remember, don't say polarity means positive or negative, because transformers are usually used in AC. So that means there is no such thing called positive or negative, because the positive terminals after certain instant, certain duration later, that would become a negative terminal compared to other. So there is no such thing called positive and negative. Polarity here means something else we will discuss. So polarity means at the same instant, whether if the one terminal, let's say here top terminal, is at higher potential, for the second coil, whether the top terminal at the same instant is at higher potential or lower potential compared to the other terminal of the same coil. In effect, physically, this means whether the two coils are wound both in clockwise, or one in clockwise, another in anti-clockwise manner. So physically, this is the thing. However, we can measure this, or the implication is the voltage terminals or the voltage polarity at the same instant for the two coils. Now, on a transformer core, the coils can be wound in only two possible manner. One is clockwise, another is anti-clockwise. So if both of them are wound in the same manner, so if we draw the, let's say, induced voltage One second. So let's say for one of them, let's say, oops, so nice. So let's say for one of them, at certain instant, the applied voltage is like this sine wave. So if the both the coils are wound in the same manner in clockwise direction, for the other, considering the similar terminals, the voltage induced would be like this. However, if they are wound in the opposite manner, the voltage induced would be like this. So if they are in the same manner, the phase angle difference between the two voltages usually would be 0. However, if they are in the opposite manner, one clockwise, another anti-clockwise, the induced voltage would have a phase angle difference that would be of 180. Now, I would take a an easy path here, which you should not do. However, for understanding, that's very easy. That's much easier to understand. So I would consider, because there is only there are only two possibilities of phase angle difference between the two voltages, or that there are only two types. So phase angle difference between 0 to get the other voltage multiplied by the turns ratio. You just have to multiply that by 1 or minus 1, such that we can actually get the voltage equation at any instant. So we would do this by considering that the two voltages are DC voltage. So for polarity test, we would go by this sort of a circuit. Remember, once again, we have to use a fuse, and we would apply a voltage across capital A and B, and we would connect any one terminal of C and D to capital A or B. So check here, we are considering two coils here, and we are actually trying to find relationship between two coils. We cannot directly do this for three coils simultaneously, because we have to find the relationship between two coils, whether they are two are wound in the same manner or opposite manner. So considering for the relationship between capital AB and capital CD, we would apply a voltage across capital AB, and we would connect any one terminal of C and D to any one terminal of capital A and B. So here, I have shown you the connection between capital B and capital C. Remember, because there is no connection, or the capital C and D are not connected to any load, or if there is no connection, the circuit is still in open circuit mode. Now we would measure the voltage across A and B, and we would write the voltage V1 to be the voltage across A and B. So this is the voltage across capital AB. Let's say, of course, usually this should be something, if we apply 110, so the voltage would be around 110. We would also measure the voltage across V2, or the voltage V2, which is the voltage for the timing, that is voltage across C and D. So, and note that down. Now we would measure the voltage V to be marked as V3, and that voltage is the voltage between the two unconnected terminals or open terminals. Here, if you look at the picture, look at the circuit diagram, the two terminals connected are capital B and C. And that means we have to measure the voltage across capital A and capital D. So now let's go by the DC terminology or DC circuit. So we know the voltage across A and B, and we have connected B and C by a wire, and we already have the value, or the voltage value, between capital A and D. So if we find that the voltage V3 is summation of V1 and V2, so that means the voltage polarity of V2 must be plus here and minus here. What does that mean? This means at the same instant when A is at higher polarity or higher potential, at that instant C would be at higher potential. Or otherwise saying, at the instant when B is at lower potential, at that same instant D would be at lower potential. So that means we have the idea that at one instant when A is at higher potential, at that same instant C would be at higher potential if the relationship or measurement of the voltages follows this relationship. So that means the two coils must be wound in the same manner. However, that is not important for the timing for this. What is important is the circuit point of implication from the circuit point of view. So we would mark this by using something by a dot here, denoting that at the same instant when A is at higher potential, at that same instant C is at higher potential. Sometimes people do this by dot and cross mark, denoting that at the same instant you go by this when A is at higher potential compared to B, at that instant C is at higher potential compared to D. However, this is sufficient to put a dot on the two terminals and that gives you the same information without putting the cross mark. We can also put the dot mark across B or at the terminal B, then we have to put the dot mark at the terminal D also. And that polarity, so this way we can find what is the polarity relationship. This is called the polarity relationship. Sometimes this is called dot relationship, or sometimes called polarity marking, also called dot marking of the transformer coils. This way, this test does not end here. For the two coils AB and capital CD, we also have to connect the two terminals which are not connected. Means we have to go by connecting. You open this up, just remove this and connect capital B and D. Now find whether the relationship, earlier find relationship is valid. Now if you find that V3 is equals to V1 plus V2 in earlier case, now you would find V3 would be equals to V1 and difference between V1 and V2. So if you find that this relationship holds in this case also, then that confirms our polarity relationship. So we have to do the same thing considering, or for the secondary or the tertiary, denoting the small ABCD, and we have to find the relationship between capital AB and small ABCD. So this way we can find the dot relationship or the polarity relationship between capital AB, capital CD, and capital small ABCD terminals of the small ABCD coils. So once again, for to find the relationship between capital AB and small ABCD, we have to do the same thing. We have to first connect to find whether that is additive, and then we have to find whether that is subtracting or the difference, making difference. So this way we can find the polarity relationship. For this transformer, because I know the relationship, so the relationship is usually like this. So there would be similar relationship between capital AB and capital CD, however opposite relationship between capital ABCD. However, if you mark ABCD, I would say just by coincidence that you started small a from D, in that case the polarity would go at the top. However, that does not make any difference as such for this at this time. That would make difference when you go for these connections. We would make parallel connections for the coils to modify the transformer characteristics a bit. How do we modify? If we connect two terminals, let's say the voltage rating for this transformer is 110, and that you can measure that the voltage when voltage applied across A and B is 110, the voltage that can be measured across C and D is 110. However, the voltage that can be measured across small ABCD would be of around 220. So that means if we want to connect two terminals or two coils in parallel, we have to connect capital AB and capital CD in parallel. We cannot connect capital AB and small ABCD or small AB, small AD in parallel, because the voltage rating of the two coils are different. So that means they would produce different voltages. So you cannot connect in parallel two different voltage sources. So that we can connect only capital AB and capital CD in parallel. To connect them in parallel, what difference that makes? The difference that makes is that if the current rating of capital AB is, let's say, 1 ampere, and current rating of capital CD is 1 ampere, once we connect them in parallel, we can have a current rating of 2 ampere for the primary. However, the secondary, of course, the current rating remains same. We can actually increase the current rating of the primary by connecting them in parallel. So to connect them in parallel, we have two options. We can either use the number one, which is on the left side. We can use this one. Let's say one. Let's say this is 1, or we can use this 2. Here you can find the connections are by here we have connected capital B and C for the number one connection, and capital A and D for number one connection. And for 2, we have connected capital A and C and capital B and D. Now, going by the dot polarity, we have connected with the non-dotted and non-dotted terminal for number one connection, and we have connected dotted terminals for number two connections. You would find that the number one connection is valid, number two connection is valid, and number one connection is invalid. So what does it make, or what difference that would make, or how can we find that? If you connect a fuse wire here, which were prescribed for you, suggested to you for any connection here, you would find the fuse wire for the circuit number 1 that would blow out with a I would say huge spark. Usually that is done in front of you, of course, a bit fearing, giving you a bit, making you a bit afraid of the electrical engineering. However, that is not so. You should always put precaution whenever, even if you are very confident that your circuit is good enough or would be working. However, in this case, the fuse wire would remain intact. What is the problem here with the number one circuit? For the number one circuit, if you look here, remember the two coils are wound over the same core. So that means when the voltage applied across the coil AB is like this, so that would pass a current something like this, such that there would be a flux. Let's say for the timing, the flux here inside the core is like this. So now we are also applying the same voltage here across capital CD. So however, here the voltage at the same instant would be like this. So current flowing through this would be like this, and that would try to produce a flux like this, such that it try to oppose the applied voltage. Now you see in the same core, the flux to oppose the applied voltage are in two directions, because the voltages are same and the number of turns for A and B are capital AB and capital CD are same. The two fluxes would cancel each other. So in effect, there would be zero flux to oppose the applied voltage. So that means if the voltage induced EMF or the back EMF for the transformer is zero, so that means the current through the transformer would become very high. So due to that, at certain point, the safety mechanism would start working, and because the current becomes very high, the fuse would blow out, making your connection or making your transformer safe. For the number two connection, there is no problem as such. So we can use the transformer safely, because the two fluxes are in the same direction. They would, of course, they would add up to each other. However, there is no point, because the same flux at certain point would be able to oppose create the back EMF such that it can oppose the applied voltage, and there would be safe limit over the current. So we can increase the current rating by using a connection like this. Now remember, here comes the importance of dot polarity. for this parallel connection, we have to connect the two dotted terminals and we have to connect the two non-dotted terminals, or we have to connect the similar terminals to make the parallel connection. Now let's go for the series connection. Here we can make this, once again we have two possibilities. We can connect the series connection like the number 1 connection here. Okay, we can make like this number 1, or we can make the connection like number 2. Here also going by the similar relationship, because we are applying a voltage. Okay, the importance of series connection is that once we do this, the voltage applied, 110 volt is applied, considering the number of turns are same. So the voltage applied across capital AB would be 110 by 2, across capital CD would be 110 by 2. So the total voltage applied across AB and CD, or as a result across A and D, that would be 110. So that means the number of turns as such N1 and N2 are added up, and so the total possible voltage rating of capital A and D, that would be 110. So that also means if the voltage turns ratio of N2 is twice that of, N3 is twice that of N1 and N2, now we have a transformer where the number of turns are that would be 1:1. Considering that N3 is equals to twice N1 equals to twice N2, so that makes N3 equals to N1 plus N2. So we would have a transformer where the turns ratio is 1:1. So this way we can modify the transformer turns ratio or voltage ratio a bit by using this series connection. Okay. Now in this connection, consider the circuit connection 2, which is not valid, because let's say to generate once we apply the voltage, because we have to generate the back EMF, let's say the magnetizing current or current passing through the transformer is in this way. So there would be a current which would go like this. However, the same current, if you look here, that comes like this. So that means the flux produced here, that for this, let's say this is in this direction. However, the flux produced here, that would be in this direction like this. Because the flux producing component or MMF is proportional to N into I. So for the current being same and the number of turns being same, so for A and D, they produce same flux. So the flux, because they are in opposite direction, they would cancel each other and the resultant flux would be 0. So the back EMF would be 0. So there would be huge current. So that would, due to that, we have to put the precaution, and this connection, the connection 2 is not valid connection. So however, the connection 1 is a valid connection. We can do that. You can check that connection because the fluxes are actually adding to each other. However, remember here, in the earlier case, parallel case, the fluxes were not adding to each other. Not adding to each other means, of course, they are additive or in the same polarity. However, there is no point of adding them because they are same, because they are applying the same flux is opposing. However, here for the two fluxes, for the two coils, capital AB and capital CD, the fluxes are adding because we have two MMF sources. One is I into N1, another MMF source, that is I into N2. So this way we can make a series connection to modify the number of turns. Okay. So now another point is whether we can apply DC to the transformer. Now someone please come up and say whether we can apply DC to the transformer or not.
No,
you can
sir.
unmute and answer.
Because transformer actually winding resistances are very small, and whenever we apply the DC, then the huge current will flow, and there will
Okay.
be
Anyone else?
স্যার ডিসি সোর্স
Actually,
ইউজ
there
করলে
will be-
ফ্লাক্স চেঞ্জ হবে না
Actually, there will be no EMF generated to oppose the source voltage. So
Why do you think so?
So there will be, তাহলে স্যার ডিসি ভোল্টেজ থেকে খুবই মানে যেহেতু রেজিস্ট্যান্স গুলো খুব কম রাখার চেষ্টা করা হয় যাতে লস কম হয়, এবার তাই খুব হাই অ্যামাউন্ট অফ কারেন্ট ড্র করবে এন্ড ওটা থেকে স্মোক জেনারেট হবে।
না ঠিক আছে, ফার্স্ট পয়েন্ট
স্যার ফ্লাক্সটাও তো এখানে ভ্যারিয়েবল ফ্লাক্স নয়, কনস্ট্যান্ট ফ্লাক্স ডিসি থেকে আসবে, ফলে
আচ্ছা ঠিক
ডি
আছে,
ফাই বাই ডিটি জিরো।
ঠিক ঠিক, তবে একটু ভুল আছে। আমি আসছি তোমার পর ফ্লাক্সের পয়েন্টটাতে পরে আসছি। ফার্স্ট পয়েন্ট হচ্ছে রেজিস্ট্যান্স। ডু ইউ হ্যাভ এনি আইডিয়া হোয়াট ইজ দ্য ভ্যালু অর হোয়াট ইজ দ্য অ্যামাউন্ট অফ রেজিস্ট্যান্স? মেবি জাস্ট রাফ অর্ডার, লেটস সে what is the amount of resistance or value of resistance, that very high or small?
Very small.
Small, very
Very
small.
small. Okay, then what is the problem in AC? You are saying that the resistance being very small, there would be huge current in DC. So resistance is
Sir.
also small in AC. What is the problem?
Sir, in AC there will be also reactance component, so
Okay,
I think the impedance
come-
will be something higher.
okay, I got your point. Now, what is the value of reactance in reactance value? Whether that is very high compared to the resistance or very low compared to the resistance? Anything? Any idea?
ভেরি হাই, বিকজ যত ভালো বেশি রিয়াক্টেন্স হয়, মানে ওই এক্সেলটা যত ভালো হবে তত ইন্ডাক্টরটা আইডিয়াল ইন্ডাক্টরের দিকে অ্যাপ্রোচ করবে।
না, এখানে তোমাদের অনেকগুলো একটু বোঝার ভুল আছে। তোমাদের ট্রান্সফরমার অবশ্য পড়ানো হবে, আমি জানি না কতটা পড়ানো হয়েছে। ট্রান্সফরমার ইকুইভ্যালেন্ট সার্কিট আশা করি পড়ানো হয়েছে,
হ্যাঁ
তাই
স্যার,
কি? হ্যাঁ,
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
ট্রান্সফরমার ইকুইভ্যালেন্ট সার্কিট যদি আমি প্যারালাল ব্রাঞ্চটাকে নেগলেক্ট করে দিই, তাহলে ট্রান্সফরমার ইকুইভ্যালেন্ট সার্কিটটা খুব ক্রুড সেন্সে দাঁড়ায় এইরকম, তাই তো?
Yes
আমার
sir.
খুব ক্রুড সেন্সে দাঁড়ায় এইরকম। এটা রেজিস্ট্যান্সের মধ্যে প্রাইমারি সেকেন্ডারি দুটো রেজিস্ট্যান্সই আছে। প্রাইমারি সেকেন্ডারি লিকেজ ইন্ডাক্টেন্স, রিমেম্বার লিকেজ রিঅ্যাক্ট্যান্স আর লিকেজ ইন্ডাক্টেন্স দুটোই আছে এখানে, তাই তো? প্যারালাল ব্রাঞ্চের কারেন্ট যেহেতু খুব কম হয় সেই জন্য আমি নেগলেক্ট করেছি, আদারওয়াইজ এখানে ড্র করতেও পারতাম, অসুবিধা নেই। সো ইফ দিস ইজ দ্য ট্রান্সফরমার equivalent circuit, where is the pointer? Okay, here. So let's say this is the primary voltage and this is the secondary voltage referred to the primary. Now if there is any current, so that means due to this current there would be a voltage drop by itself across the transformer, তাই তো? এগ্রি করছো তো? কেউ একজন আনমিউট করে বলতে পারো?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ, sir.
আচ্ছা, কিন্তু ট্রান্সফরমারে আমরা কি চাই? এই ভোল্টেজটা V2 সবসময় একই থাকবে, বিকজ উই আর ইউজিং দ্যাট ট্রান্সফরমার ইজ ইউজ অ্যাজ এ ভোল্টেজ সোর্স ফর দ্য from the secondary, from the primary we have, for the primary we have connected a voltage source, from the secondary we must have a voltage source, because we don't have the capability to increase or reduce, increase or decrease the voltage value. That's why we are using a transformer, that's all. Otherwise, crudely, there is no point in using a transformer. Of course, there are certain other requirements, maybe isolation or something else. However, we require the voltage value at the secondary to be fixed. Now, to behave this as a good voltage source, the voltage drop across the resistance or the leakage reactance must be as low as possible. So that means the reactance value and the resistance value both must be as small as possible. Usually for a transformer, the voltage reactance value, or that is usually given by the voltage drop at the rated current. You have the idea of the rated current and you multiply that by the voltage, reactance value and the resistance value by considering the phasor notations. So usually the drop across the resistances and reactances total, that is of the order of 5% for a well-designed transformer, and in some special cases that may be higher. However, that is deliberate because that is the requirement. Otherwise, for a well-designed transformer, that voltage drop is very small, of the order of 5%. So now you can consider what is the very low value of reactance. That means if you apply a rated current, the voltage drop across the resistance and reactance combined, that would be 5% of the voltage. So that means your logic that the reactance value should be as high as possible is not valid. If you say the magnetizing reactance, of course, that must be as high as possible. Leakage reactance, that must be as low as possible, of the order that is very small, such that the voltage drop across the reactance and resistance combined at rated current value, that is of the order of 5%. So that means if we apply, let's say 110 volt here, the voltage drop across this at rated current that may be of the order of 5.5 volt or let's say roughly 6 volts. So where does this 104 volt goes, or where the opposition of 104 volt comes from? That comes from the induced EMF. So there would be one induced EMF. Of course, in this crude equivalent circuit that cannot be shown. Here we would have some voltage induced EMF here that would oppose the primary voltage of V1, and this voltage must be 104 volt. Here, of course, I am neglecting the phasor notation because 6 volt and 104 volt must be added algebraically, not arithmetically. Just please, I would say pardon me because I have just added them up arithmetically. This must not be done. So this highest voltage, higher amount of voltage that would be produced by the opposing EMF, such that the voltage applied across the primary can be opposed, such that the current is limited. This current is not limited by the resistance or reactance. Of course, that is limited to some extent. However, that is not mainly limited by the reactance and resistance. I hope you got my point. So you should not say that the transformer resistance and reactance limits the current. Of course, that is valid from the Ohm's law. However, that is not the main point. That actual limiting factor is the back EMF. Got my point or any confusion? I am coming into the flux point of view.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So don't say that reactance or resistance limits the current. Okay. So next problem is the flux. Okay, let's say we have applied a DC voltage. So due to that, of course, there would be a current. Because there is an electrical connection, there would be a current. Let's say this is IDC. So because there is a current, there would be a flux induced across the coil. You cannot deny, because flux is proportional to N into I, MMF divided by the reluctance. So there would be some flux. So let's denote that flux to be phi. So now what is the result of that? What would be that flux? Or I would say nature of the flux. The nature of the flux must be such that d phi by dt would be equals to let's say my n d phi by dt, n1 d phi by dt, that would be equals to minus v1. Here that is equals to minus v dc. Now you may argue whether this flux we can take d phi by dt or not. However, I am not doing anything special. We are just applying Faraday's law or the first law for this equation. That means phi is equals to, or you can write proportional to, minus integral v dc dt. So that shows that the flux, or if the VDC is constant, so in that case this is equals to minus VDC into time. So this shows that the flux is indeed varying. Now by nature, whether the flux would actually vary or not, of course that would vary, because in case there is not, I would say, required amount of induced EMF to oppose the voltage is low, so the current would increase. So that would produce the flux such that the current would, there would be current. At certain point, you would of course have the flux such that it can oppose the applied voltage. So where is the problem? Whether I have a problem in this logic or I have a problem anywhere else, you can come up once again. You can find any problem with my logic, or you have any other answer or anything you want to add to this. Anyone? Okay. In fact, you can do this. You can apply DC voltage to a transformer compared to, I would say, contradicting your assumption up to now. So in fact, there is a transformer in your mobile charger, there is a transformer in your laptop charger, there is a transformer in your TV set, there is a transformer in your, maybe in your refrigerator at your household. So this sort of way, there would be a transformer. All of them are working in DC. So it's possible to apply DC across the transformer. However, there is a limitation. Limitation is that once you apply the DC, okay, so the transformer or the flux would, by the equation I have already derived, the flux would start increasing linearly like this. Now at certain point, because there is a magnetic core that would go on saturating, that would become saturated. Once that becomes saturated, the d phi by dt, what you told that would not be varying, that would become valid right now. So once that's saturated, the d phi by dt would become almost equals to 0. Once that becomes almost equals to 0, the back EMF once again, back EMF would become almost to 0, so there would be huge current. So due to that, you cannot apply DC to a transformer without any restriction. However, there is a point catch that if we can apply, DC voltage such that we can limit the transformer flux such that we are moving just below the saturation point, we can safely apply DC voltage up to this. Let's say then we would remove the DC voltage and we apply DC voltage in opposite direction or somehow such that the flux is made 0. Once again we would apply DC voltage such that the flux moves here. Once again remove the flux such that it is made 0 or negative. So this way, if we can apply a DC voltage with restrictions such that the flux never reaches saturation, we can safely apply DC voltage. And if we do that, we would get DC voltage across the secondary, or let's say proportional voltage across the secondary, by using the same turns ratio what we get for the AC voltage. So we can apply DC voltage with certain restriction across the transformer. However, in lab, if you apply DC voltage without any restriction, if you apply rated DC voltage, let's say 110 volt DC, of course, that may damage the transformer. If you apply a fuse for safety, of course, that makes the transformer safe, or that can, I would actually save the transformer.
Sir, here I have a question.
Bolo.
Only, sir, if we apply a particular DC voltage, that means a very small but fixed DC voltage, then why the flux will vary in the core? Because the current will be fixed, so flux should be fixed.
Your assumption is wrong. The current is not fixed. The current or the magnetizing current to oppose the flux, oppose the induced applied voltage, that would be increasing, such that the flux is increasing. Of course, as long as there is no voltage applied across or opposing voltage, the current would go on increasing because the flux or the voltage must be increasing, otherwise that cannot oppose the applied voltage. We have to go by this nature. You go by the Faraday's law that the voltage or the current, the flux must be increasing, and to increase the flux, the current must be increasing. Remember, if we go by the magnetizing current point of view, this current to generate the flux is very small up to the saturation point. However, beyond saturation point, once the flux becomes saturated, the current would become very high, because there the current requirement to generate the same flux would be very high, because earlier the flux was mmf divided by the reluctance. The reluctance was that of the iron. Reluctance, if you remember, that is equals to L by mu A. So mu is very small, or reluctance is very small when there was iron in it. So reluctance was very small, so the flux mmf requirement was very small to produce the same flux. Now once the iron saturates, the flux is actually passing through air. So that means a mu becomes very low, so the reluctance becomes very high. Once the reluctance becomes very high, we have to apply very high mmf to produce the similar amount of flux. So that means the flux must be increasing such that it can oppose the voltage. However, once the core saturates, the current required for to generate the same flux should be very high. আর কোনো কনফিউশন আছে বলো?
স্যার তার মানে কি এটা অনেকটা ওই ট্রান্সিয়েন্ট ফেনোমেনার মতো, যে ইন্ডাক্টরের মধ্যে ডিসি অ্যাপ্লাই করলে যেরকমটা হয়?
ইন্ডাক্টরের মধ্যে ডিসি অ্যাপ্লাই করলে ঠিক সিমিলার ফেনোমেনা হয়। সেখানে এবার এখানে তুমি যদি ট্রান্সফরমারটাকে এভাবে দেখো যে
হুম।
দ্য ট্রান্সফরমার ইজ, তুমি যদি ভুলে যাও যে এখানে এই পার্টটা পুরোটা নেই, তাহলে তো জিনিসটা ইন্ডাক্টরই দাঁড়ায়।
হ্যাঁ।
সেটাই হয়, ইন্ডাক্টর একটা সময় গিয়ে স্যাচুরেট করে যায়, তখন স্যাচুরেট করে গেলে কারেন্টটা লিমিট করে হচ্ছে রেজিস্ট্যান্সটা, ইন্ডাক্টরের যে রেজিস্ট্যান্স বা ইনহেরেন্টলি
হ্যাঁ
যে
স্যার।
রেজিস্ট্যান্সটা আছে সেই রেজিস্ট্যান্সের থ্রু দিয়ে। আদারওয়াইজ
স্যার।
ইন্ডাক্ট্যান্স কখনোই ডিসিটাকে অপোজ করতে পারে না, যতক্ষণ না কোনটা স্যাচুরেট করে যাচ্ছে ততক্ষণ অপোজ করবে, কিন্তু যে স্যাচুরেট করে গেল তখন আর অপোজ করতে পারবে না।
আচ্ছা স্যার। জি জি।
আর কোনো পয়েন্ট আছে? Okay, so I hope I could clear your doubts. Now there is a point for you to parallel the electric. We have already connected the two primary in parallel. Now we have to load them, load the transformer in the secondary. So this can be done by, of course, while connecting them in parallel, we have to consider the dot polarity, whether you are connecting the dotted terminals or not and non-dotted terminals in parallel or not. And then we have to measure the current through the two coils. We have to ensure that the current through the two coils are not beyond its rated capability. So this way we have to also measure the load current. Now by using this transformer connection, we have to change the load, change the load in the load means the load resistance, and by increasing that we will find, because we have connected two in parallel, so that means we still have 110:220 volt ratio or turns ratio. So that means 1:2 turns ratio, or the current here should be, if the current is 1 ampere, so for this the current should be 0.5 ampere for the two. However, sorry, I got this wrong. If this the current is here is 1 ampere, the current here should be 2 ampere. However, because they are divided into two parts, so current here should be 1 ampere and current here should be 1 ampere this way. So the two currents are divided in usually equally. However, there will be some non-idealities. So there may be some difference in the current magnitude from difference in the current division. That's all. We can connect the transformer in auto transformer such that we can get higher amount of voltage from the secondary. That auto transformer is nothing but using the same coil as the transformer. Okay. So if you consider, let's say, one coil like this, and if we apply a voltage here across, let's say, these terminals, so let's say this, so due to the, because there is flux produced on the core and the whole coil is wound over the same core, so if there is n number of turns, let's say n1, and n number of turns n2, so we would get a voltage across these terminals such that the voltage is proportional to, or the, let's say this is V1 and this is V2. So we would get a voltage of, V2 by V1, that would be equals to N2 plus N1 divided by N1 this way. So it's the same coil, only one coil can act as a transformer. This we can do for increasing the voltage, or we can do for decreasing the voltage. If we consider that the terminal is connected somewhere here, so such that the number of turns N2 is, or let's say N2 is here, N2 shows to be negative. However, let's say this is N3, so in that case N3 is less than N1. So the voltage as V2 by V1 would be N3 by N1, and N3 being less than N1, so you would get a lower voltage of V2 compared to V1. So there is only one coil which itself is working as a transformer, behaving as a transformer. So that's why this is called auto transformer. Here in this transformer we have three coils, so we can connect them in series, taking into account proper polarity. So that way you can get a very high voltage if we apply 110 volt. So we can get 110 volt here, 220 volt here, and connecting them in proper polarity, we can get 440 volts. Or here, what is shown here, capital AB and capital CD are connected in parallel. So that means what we would get across the load here, that would be of 220 plus 110, or the resultant would be 330 volts. So connecting them this way and connecting them in connecting the load in series with the for the auto transformer, we have to load the transformer this way, and we have to measure the voltage. Sorry, we have to measure the current through each coil. Now we would see that if the current is, let's say, higher for the load is something, then that will be distributed into current for the coil capital AB and capital CD in the very similar way like what we have done. Okay, what we have done for the earlier case of paralleling the circuit. So that's all. This is the theory behind your coil connection and that lab. So I am done with. If you have any confusion or you want to ask anything, feel free to come up with your question. Any question? Okay, so if there is no question, let's end this. Let's finish this. So you can leave.
স্যার অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটা কিভাবে নেবেন?
অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স আমি দেখছি, একটু ওয়েট করে যাও। এখানে অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স নেওয়ার জায়গাটা কোথায় আমি সেটাও ঠিক জানি না, ইউজ করিনি বেশি দিন। ঠিক আছে, আমার মনে হয় আই হোপ রেকর্ডিং তো করেছি, এটাতে কিছু থাকবে। Neha Agarwal raised hand. She wants to ask anything. Neha. Okay, I would find some in. Maybe that is saved in the recording also, I guess.
Yes,
Otherwise,
screenshot
there is no
নিয়ে নিন।
problem. Huh. Okay,
Screenshot নিয়ে নিন।
someone who is this Ananda Chakraborty. Okay, you can leave. Thank you.